Jesus answered, "Believe me, Barnabas, that every sin, however small it be, God punishes with great punishment, seeing that God is offended at sin. Therefore, since my mother and my faithful disciples that were with me loved me a little with earthly love, the righteous God has willed to punish this love with the present grief, in order that it may not be punished in the flames of hell. And though I have been innocent in the world, since men have called me God and Son of God, in order that I be not mocked of the demons on the day of judgment, has willed that I be mocked of men on this world by the death of Judas, making all men to believe that I died upon the cross. And this mocking shall continue until the advent of Muhammad, the messenger of God, who, when he shall come, shall reveal this deception to those who believe in God's law." Having thus spoken, Jesus said, "You are just, O Lord, our God, because to you only belongs honor and glory without end." Jesus turned himself to him who writes and said, "Barnabas, see that by all means you write my gospel concerning all that has happened through my dwelling in the world, and write in a similar manner that which has befallen Judas, in order that the faithful may be undeceived, and everyone believe the truth." Then answered he who writes, "I will do so, if God wills. But, O Master, I do not know what happened to Judas, for I did not see it." Jesus answered, "Here are John and Peter, who saw everything, and they will tell you all that has happened." And then Jesus commanded us to call his faithful disciples, so that they might see him. So James and John called together the 7 disciples with Nicodemus and Joseph and many others of the 72, and they ate with Jesus. The third day Jesus said, "Go to the Mount of Olives with my mother, for there I will ascend again to heaven, and you will see who shall bear me up." So they all went there, except 25 of the 72 disciples, who for fear had fled to Damascus. And as they all stood in prayer at the midnight, Jesus came with a great multitude of angels who were praising God, and the splendor of his face made them greatly afraid, and they fell with their face to the ground. But Jesus lifted them up, comforting them and saying, "Do not be afraid. I am your master." And he reproved many who believed that he had died and rise again, saying, "Do you hold me and God for liar? I said to you that God has granted to me to live almost to the end of the world. Truly, I say to you, I did not die. It was Judas, the traitor. Beware, for Satan will make every effort to deceive you. Be my witnesses in Israel and throughout the world of all things that you have heard and seen." And having said this, he prayed God for the salvation of the faithful and the conversion of the sinners. And then, when he ended his prayer, he embraced his mother, saying, "Peace be to you, my mother. Rest in God, who created you and me." And having said this, he turned to his apostles and disciples, saying, "May God's grace and mercy be with you." Then, before their eyes, the four angels carried him up into heaven. After Jesus has departed, the disciples scattered through the different parts of Israel and of the world, and the truth, hated of Satan, was persecuted, as it always is, by falsehood. For certain evil men, pretending to be the disciples, preached that Jesus died and rose not again. Others preached that he really died but rose again. Others preached that, and yet preached that Jesus is the Son of God, among whom is Paul, who deceived. But we, as much as I have written, we preach to those who fear God, that they may be saved in the last day of God's judgment. Amen. Thank you for listening.